What's up, guys? Theo here, doing a quick prediction for Gregory Rodrigues versus Brad Tavares. So right now, Gregory Rodrigues is a minus 260 favorite, and the comeback on Brad Tavares is plus 185 on DraftKings. And guys, I like Brad Tavares here. I think he's being a little bit slept on because of some losses to some really high-level opponents lately. And I just feel like he has a lot of upside in this particular matchup. You know, I don't think that Brad Tavares is really some super high-level fighter that, I don't think he's ever going to be champion. I think it's well past that at this point. I believe he is like 38 years old. But I think he has enough skill to get by someone like Gregory, and I'll explain why. So, Gregory Rodrigues, obviously, everyone knows the guy, his pedigree is that he was a grappler. He was a really good jiu-jitsu grappler, and he kind of learned striking, and he's since come into the UFC, and he's had pretty mixed success, man. He actually had a loss on Contender Series, pretty bad one, and then he ended up getting into the UFC anyway, and he's done some good work, and he's done some bad work here and there. He's been very give and take. Notably, kind of his chin is a big issue. He gets slept a lot. The dude is a bit of a glass cannon. But, he's big and he's fast and he's strong. So I get why a lot of people are like lining him as the favorite here and picking him against Tavares. But I just can't pick against Tavares here, who is an old, crafty veteran, which I love. Everyone knows I love these old, crafty veterans. And he's just got, in my opinion, a bit more of a technical MMA game, particularly on the feet, than does Gregory Rodrigues. So what you see from Gregory Rodrigues that's kind of alarming, and one of the reasons that he gets slept so much, is the way that he strikes. Keep in mind, this guy is a learned striker. He did not come up in combat sports as a striker. He learned striking. And when you watch him strike and move, that is very evident. So he's not a one-dimensional striker, so to speak, but I would call him a two-dimensional striker. And that's really not what you want to see, because in the UFC, you need like three-dimensional striking. With Gregory Rodrigues, again, lots of power, fast. If he hits you, he can knock you out. He can also sub people, although he never does. He probably can, though. But when he strikes, there's just a little bit too much of this like grid pattern, right? He's kind of going in, out, sideways, moving the head, bobbing. It's a little too intentional for me. It doesn't seem like it's super instinctual. He doesn't really seem like he's just kind of flowing and moving and striking the way that he's supposed to. And I'm not saying that his striking is like really bad or anything. It's just that it's the kind of striking that when you go up against somebody like Brad Tavares, who has a much better mind for MMA and has been around for a very long time and has fought a lot of really high-level guys like that are going to be able to exploit striking weaknesses like that. All right? Even if Gregory Rodrigues is moving a lot, you kind of see what he's doing. He's trying to create head movement, and he's trying to create angles, and it doesn't really work well for him because he's just doing too much. He's thinking too much when he strikes. He's thinking, I got to be going forward, in, out, sideways. I got to move my head. You can almost see him when he's fighting, like reminding himself what to do when he's striking. And as a result of that, he's not a very efficient fighter. It's not that he gasses or anything like that. The guy's got decent cardio for how big he is. It's that he's thinking too much about what he's doing, and he's using his energy because of that. Because he's constantly thinking, I got to be bouncing, moving, going this way, that way, and trying to move in and out. He's using a lot of that energy, and it's just wasted energy. It's not really going anywhere. He doesn't have like an incredibly high striking volume or anything. It's just that he has power, and when he lands, he can shut people out. But it's a little too mechanical, what I see from him, to be honest. And I see the opposite of that with Brad Tavares. I see a guy who is more of a natural striker. Tavares is not a grappler. He does have good wrestling, defense, and he is actually willing to take people down when he can. I don't think that's what's going to happen here. But if you look at his striking, it's very educated, man. It's very just classic, good, solid MMA striking. Okay, he's not doing a ton. He's not like feinting a ton. He's not trying to incorporate all of these different things into his striking game. He's just kind of moving and striking, and he's got a good eye for it, and he's got a good instinct for it. And that's kind of what I like about him. He's a more natural striker, so to say. And I think that is going to make a big difference in this fight, because I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. Obviously, Gregory has the ground game, the jiu-jitsu, and Tavares has the wrestling defense. So I don't see Gregory Rodrigues getting Brad Tavares down here. And I don't see him knocking Brad Tavares out either. There's this narrative going around that Brad Tavares is like shot and he can't take a hit anymore. Guys, that's not true. If you actually look at his losses where he's been TKO'd, the guy has never been laid out flat, okay? He's been TKO'd by Bruno Silva, which was an early stoppage. I went back and watched that fight. Bruno Silva catches him, lays him out, and he's not out. He goes back onto the ground, and he's trying to move out of the way, and Mark Goddard steps in and stops the fight. So Tavares was on the ground instantly protesting, saying like, no, like I wasn't out. You should have given me time to defend. And he was. It was an early stoppage. Then you look, okay, who else has knocked this guy out? Robert Whittaker. Okay, Robert Whittaker knocked the guy out when Robert Whittaker was in his absolute prime. Again, Whittaker didn't knock him out stiff. Whittaker TKO dropped him and came in. And Whittaker's hands were amazing in that fight, guys. So, you know, it's not like he's getting like knocked out cold by guys. He doesn't have a bad chin. He's a Hawaiian. That's honestly one of the Hawaiians' biggest strengths in MMA. Is like, I can't think of any Hawaiian fighter that has been slept like that. I mean, they're literally famous for their chins. They're literally famous for it. And Tavares is no exception. He's got a chin. I mean, he's not getting like laid out. He's not getting just like knocked unconscious. He's getting TKO'd. He's not getting knocked out. Edmen Shahbazyan TKO'd him with a head kick. Guys, that was literally the best that Edmen Shahbazyan ever looked. He put on an amazing striking performance in that fight. After that, he went on and he lost like 4 in a row. That was it for Edmen Shahbazyan. That was Edmen Shahbazyan's, that was his potential laid out there in that Brad Tavares fight. So I don't like take those TKO losses really into account that much, because it's not like he's got like a cracked chin and he's getting laid out. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing a guy who gets caught by strikers, Bruno Silva, who is himself a crafty old vet with a lot of length, man, and he's got pop. And Bruno Silva, you can never count him out. Again, that was a quick stoppage, so I don't take that too highly. And then getting TKO'd by Edmen Shahbazyan on the best night of Edmen Shahbazyan's life, I don't take that too highly to account either. Robert Whittaker TKOing you, guys, Robert Whittaker was the champ, okay? He was beating everybody. He was amazing when he was in his prime. He's not anymore, but he had incredible hand speed. And, I mean, I don't look at those and say, like, okay, Brad's going to get knocked out by Gregory here. Why? We have no reason to really think that just because Gregory Rodrigues TKO'd Dennis Tululin, who Dennis Tululin got taken down with, like, a single leg and dragged down. Brad Tavares is not going to get taken down that easily, guys. So this is going to be a stand-up affair. I personally believe that. And I don't think Gregory is going to knock Tavares out. Guys, you go back, you look at Tavares' fights. He fought Dricus du Plessis in 2022 and took him to a decision. And he cracked Dricus. He actually rocked Dricus du Plessis in that fight and had Dricus on the mat and was like over him, like hitting him. So he's fighting like absolutely high-level competition. The guy has fought Robert Whittaker, Dricus du Plessis, Israel Adesanya, for God's sake. The guy went to decision with not only Israel Adesanya, but also Dricus du Plessis. He's gone to decision with like 2 middleweight champions, and he fought Whittaker, another middleweight champion. And yeah, he got TKO by Whittaker. So what, man? That was a bad stylistic matchup for Brad in there. This guy has literally fought, I mean, Yoel Romero, he's fought Yoel Romero. This guy's fought literally the best of the best at that weight class in the entire world. And he's looked competitive against them. He's not like getting his ass whooped in fights, especially not recently, man. He fought Chris Weidman and he did well. And people saying, oh, he got worked by Chris Weidman in that fight. No, not really. Not really. It was a close fight, but he did well. And I honestly believe when these guys are going up against these old veterans sometimes, I don't think they always really want to hurt them very badly. And even in that fight, Tavares, you know, he hasn't gotten lazy yet. That's the thing. A lot of people are saying that he's like shot and he's done. But if you look at him fight, he's not getting sloppy. He's not making like really bad mistakes, right? He has kind of lost a little bit of his athleticism, but his fight IQ is still there, you know? A lot of times, some of these dudes, they age past their prime, but that is not what kills their career. Their career dies the day they get lazy in the octagon, the day they stop trying, the day that they become a guy that just shows up in the octagon. You're not trying to win fights, you're not looking for reads, you're not focused, you're not concentrated, you're just a warm body. That is when these guys' careers end, is when they give up. Brad Tavares hasn't given up yet. When you watch him fight, he's still mentally locked in. The fight IQ is still there. He's still making good decisions. He's still being very risk averse. Guys, if Dricus du Plessis couldn't knock this guy out, I do not believe Gregory Rodrigues is going to be able to. And Gregory Rodrigues himself has been knocked out by Jordan Williams, who had like type 1 diabetes or something like that. And he was like a huge underdog in that fight and he got knocked out. So people saying Brad can't knock him out. Brad can absolutely knock out Gregory Rodrigues here. Brad Tavares is not a knockout threat traditionally. But if Gregory Rodrigues can get knocked out by Jordan Williams and Bruno Ferreira. I mean, Bruno Ferreira's got a lot of power. Brad Tavares doesn't have that level of power, but neither does Williams. So Rodrigues has a terrible chin. He's a glass cannon. If this fight gets extended, Tavares is going to have so much time to find his chin. And if he's able to connect and crack Rodrigues the way that he did to Dricus du Plessis in that fight, Rodrigues is going to be in trouble here, man, because Rodrigues can't take hits like that. He can't. He gets shut down. His body, he's like the same as Phil Hawes. His body just like shuts down completely when he gets hit. So I don't know if Tavares is going to knock him out, but Tavares definitely can knock him out. And Tavares has the more refined striking with more dimensions to it. And Tavares is still showing up, and he's still putting work on guys. He's still setting up reads. He's still doing good things on the feet with his striking. So, guys, somebody has to put some respect on these old veterans' names, man. It's guys like Brad Tavares that haven't had a ton of success in the UFC, really. They've kind of been around. They fought everybody. They've had a great career, but they don't really have a lot of shine on their name. And that sucks, man, and it's sad because these guys, they sacrifice every single thing for us. So we should be putting respect on their name. And I'm not just picking Brad Tavares as an underdog here because I like him and I want to look good or whatever. I don't give a shit about that. The reality is that I think a lot of veterans in this sport get very underrated, and almost every single time you see one of these like long-standing veterans with a great resume go up against this like prospect that's supposed to be like the next thing, the up-and-coming thing, rarely does it work out for the prospects, especially not a prospect that we've already seen his number been had several times in the UFC. We know what Rodrigues' weaknesses are, okay? He's too live to stand and trade with people, and he's got too many holes in his striking, and I think Brad Tavares has the tools here to kind of make this a little bit greasy in the beginning. Maybe there's a little bit of back and forth, but I think he's going to take over as the rounds go on. And I think his more technical, more risk-averse, higher fight IQ is going to end up beating out Gregory Rodrigues' speed and power. Rodrigues is not going to take him down. Tavares has great takedown defense, and what he did to Tululin, that means absolutely nothing because Tululin didn't even look like he wanted to be there and didn't show up, and he got taken down so easily and he got TKO'd with like one hit. Gregory Rodrigues hit him once and he just gave up. And that's not going to happen with Tavares. Tavares is too tough for that, man. He's hung around with people that are way higher skilled and way more dangerous than Gregory Rodrigues. So I like Brad Tavares here. I might make a 0.25 unit bet on him because plus 185, he's one of the higher level dogs on this card that isn't super stacked. I mean, you might argue that Jack Hermansson is a slightly higher level underdog, but the line is also closer on that. Tavares is kind of like a, you know, he's UFC brand, and he's plus 185 right now against a guy that has a lot of holes in his game and does not utilize all of the tools that he has. So give me Brad Tavares here, man. A bit of a scattered breakdown there. My thoughts are a little bit all over the place with this fight, but I kind of like Brad Tavares to win a decision here. 3-round decision, yeah. So give me Brad Tavares plus 185, guys. Keep it locked in. More picks coming later this week.